I am Reed. I am 27, just an average dude. I've made tons of money mistakes in my 20s, and now I want to share everything I've learned to help you take control of your finances and your life. So if I had to get back to 10 grand a month again from scratch as soon as humanly possible, this is exactly what I would do step by step, and I am just going to dive right into it. It would be sales and selling for online businesses, so think marketing agencies, education companies, or at minimum some type of B2B business they need, and have leads they need people to set appointments from those leads and get on phone calls to close them. It is very, very simple, and they're willing to pay a very high amount to do so, very minimum base, but very high commission. It is how I made most of my money, and I genuinely believe it is the best kind of beginner business model, if you will, if you just want to very quickly stack cash and earn as you go. Now, obviously, the reason I'm making this video is because a lot of people just in my comments and in general that I am seeing have high income goals for 2026. I think seriously, if you are watching this, you obviously want more out of life, or you just have a ton of interest in getting that six-figure earnings mark in 2026. So I am going to show you how to get there step by step, and we roll in from there. This is obviously a video meant for beginners. Okay, if you already have a skill set, focus on marketing. That, of course, right? If you are good at something else, you are going to make more money overall doing that. Anyways, this is just for people who need money. Like ASAP, you have a strong skill set built yet, and that is totally fine. And you want to learn something new, another high income skill, which is totally fine. Or even if you do have a year or two of sales experience, this could still be very, very valuable. And I am going to also have a video coming out in the next bit talking about how I would get to 30 to 50 grand a month with a service business if I had just a bit more sales experience. So that is obviously for more advanced people. Watch out for that coming soon. Subscribe if you like this one you want to catch up with, that a TLL be coming out in the next couple of weeks. So again, just to give you some backstory, the reason I like sales so much is because it is so agnostic, right? It is such a deep skill that you can apply into so many areas of your life. It has obviously made me a good chunk of money and will continue to, but it has improved my confidence personally. And with women, it has built communication skills to where I can keep up a conversation with really anyone from any age or demographic. Seriously, it changes your entire life. Plus, this is the big thing. If you ever want to start a business of your own, you are 100% going to need to know how to sell right, or your partner or coder. Founder is going to need to, but why not it be you? Better yet, it has made me so damn confident that if you literally took every dollar that I have today and placed me anywhere in the world with a laptop and a Wi-Fi connection, I guarantee that I make it back everything in 1 to 2 years. That is how good it feels, right? That is the confidence it gives you. Let me tell you something personal. When I first started, I was terrified of the phone, like literally shaking before every call. I remember my first week, I probably made like 50 calls and hung up before anyone answered because I was so scared, but I kept going and I kept making mistakes and I kept learning, and now I can talk to anyone about anything. That is the power of this skill. It is not just about money, it is about becoming a different person entirely. So anyways, let's dive in. Step number 1, you obviously need to understand what sales is and why it is important, right? It is very simple. It is not what you see in the Wolf of Wall Street style movies or like the Instagram reels. Like, it is not flashy. It is actually quite boring, to be quite frank with you. It is just literally being able to consult with someone, answer their questions, and very truly just discuss why your product or service is right for them. That is it. Now, obviously, I am not going to downplay it, the tonality holding, frame speaking with conviction, all these types of things. It is all important that all adds up to the pie, obviously, okay? I am not taking away from that. But for the most part, if your offer or the company you work for is good enough and they have good products or services, you are literally just having a general conversation with someone. If you think about it, at every stage of anyone's life, you have probably sold something, quote unquote. You sold your parents on why you should be allowed to go out with your friends at 10 p.m. on a weekday. You sold a teacher on maybe a certain opinion of yours. You sold your boss on why you deserve a raise, right? This is how I view my life. Everything in here is more or less a sale, right? Whether that is with yourself or the world. A big one is the gym. It is like you are selling yourself on why you need to go to the gym. Like, this is super important thing. So just be in that mindset because it is extremely important. It is not some like hard, close car salesman, guru kind of stuff. Like, I don't agree with any of that. Okay, I don't prey on people. I am not interested in doing any of that. I know people who do, and I think it is disgusting. Okay, so just get that out of the way. Step 2, this is arguably the most important. You need to find a company and get your reps in ASAP. Okay, you can find these on Upwork by searching up high ticket sales roles or appointment setting roles. I'll even link there as like ones posted every single hour, sometimes a couple per H. You are going to see what I mean. You can even reach out to personal brands on Instagram right there. Maybe some, I wouldn't say gurus, but some people who have a very deep skill set in certain types of businesses, and they have a program that can teach you that. I know people who teach marriage counseling for Christian couples. Like, as silly as this may sound, I know people who have engineering degrees and they teach other people how to get engineering degrees and they charge them thousands for it. Like, this is the type of business that I am talking about, right? So a personal product isn't T-bad. It is totally fine short term, but long term you want to get to working for an established company, making minimum 100 to 500 grand a month. Okay, because they have enough money to pay you and you are going to be obviously closing deals for a company that is already established. So again, you can read books, you can watch videos, you can listen to podcasts all day, and I actually recommend that. Obviously, I am going to link a few below, but still by far I will die on this hill if I have to. The absolute best way you are going to learn to sell is to get reps in of your own right. So this could mean cold calls, this could mean role play, this could mean call coaching and listening with someone ahead of you. The best way to do this is to find a company that can ideally train you with their resources, right? You are going to have to obviously prove to them that you are hungry and are going to make this work because they pay you a very small base, obviously, but also get you calling some of their old stale leads or even just setting appointments for them. That is where I am saying being an appointment setter for at least the first 90 days is going to teach you so much. It is way easier to learn. It is a very low barrier to entry, and you are going to be way less responsible, to be quite frank with you. You are not responsible for closing leads just yet, so you are going to feel, less pressure, I guess, in the early stages. Now, obviously, as a setter, you are going to make less, but you will be able to understand the process from A to Z that it takes to get a lead booked and then to get the cash through the door, right, from A to Z. So you are still going to get paid very well doing this. It is just going to teach you the ropes more, which is totally fine. Let me be honest with you about my own journey here. I started as a setter. I was making cold calls for a real estate company, and I was terrible at first. Like, I remember one time I called someone and they answered, and I completely froze. I just sat there in silence for like 10 seconds before I hung up. But I kept going, and after about 2 weeks, something started clicking. I started understanding the rhythm of a conversation. I started learning how to handle objections. I started getting people to actually say yes to a meeting. And that feeling when you get your first yes is addictive, man. It really is. So don't be discouraged if you suck at first. Everyone does. The people who make it are the ones who just keep going. Step 3, the math, the nice juicy numbers. This is what I looked at every single day in my career, and I still do on a weekly basis. I am not as honed in because it is more general now, and I've got people to do that. But in the early days, you need to know your numbers. And this again is where the actual company and the offer that you sell is super, super important. You can do much if the business you work for only has a product with a couple $100 or even $1,000. Like that is a great one-person business. You need to find a company selling a product or service for minimum $2,000 and up to $10K. I'd say the sweet spot is $4 to $10K. That is just ideal, but that is the absolute perfect number. But it doesn't mean you can make a little bit less than that. Work, obviously, again, the higher the better because you are on a commission basis, right? So the more higher price product they got, the more you are going to make naturally. So just keep that in the back of your mind. And I would say a good number is they need to be getting at least 20 to 30 leads or opt-ins per Dalton Y. So these are people who are opting in, interested, filling out a form, sending an email, some type of interest within your product or service that you can then take and call them, email them, direct message them to set an appointment that way, right? So I am going to give you 4 scenarios, 2 as a setter, okay? 2 as an appointment setter and 2 as a closer. And there's going to be 1 conservative and 1 more like high end. Okay, so follow me. I might even put this in the description just so you VOD it. For the appointment setter role, this is the conservative. Number 5% commission on a $2,000 offer is $100. Okay, so that is $100 to you per appointment set. You only need 3 to 4 of those per Dalton Y to hit 10 grand a month. Now, obviously, that is assuming a 30-day work month. I am not forcing you or asking you to work 30 days. People do it, especially in the first few months, just so they can get their learning curve shortened as much as possible. But do with that what you will. Okay, so 3 to 4 of those. Per Dalton Y, this is the ideal scenario, 5% commission on a $5,000 set. Okay, that is $250 per appointment that you set. That means you only need 2 per Dalton Y. That is $500 per Dalton Y. Okay, 2 to be making 10 grand a month. And again, with the setters, you don't need to close any deals. You are literally just setting appointments through the phone calls, emails, and DMs, okay. Very simple for the closing role. Obviously, we talk about the responsibility in a second, but here again is the conservative and the ideal scenario. So the conservative is 10% commission on a $2,000 offer. That is $200 per close, literally 2 of those $400 per Dalton Y to you. And that is the conservative ratio. That is a very, very easy number to hit. This is the ideal scenario, in my opinion, is 10% commission on a $5,000 offer. Very simple math, $500, literally 1 close per Dalton Y. And the nice thing about closing, obviously, is yes, it is a much different beast. It is much more difficult, but the meetings are already on your calendar because people within the company have booked them for you, right? Once you graduate out of the appointment setting role and into a closer, things do become much easier. Meetings are on your calendar, but again, your bar is raised. So just keep that in mind. I want to emphasize something here that I think a lot of people miss. When you look at these numbers, they seem small, right? Like $100 here, $200 there. But the key is consistency. If you can set 3 appointments a day, every single day, that is 900 appointments over a 3-month period. That is a massive amount of experience and a massive amount of commission. And after 3 months, you are not the same person you were when you started. You've learned how to handle rejection. You've learned how to communicate effectively. You've learned how to close. And that is when you can move into a closing role and really start making some serious cash. So in summary, 1, learn everything you possibly can about sales with someone or a company helping you. 2, get your reps in right, get hitting the phone, sparking conversations so you can make mistakes, but understand how the process works. And 3, do your math every single day. Jot it down on a pen and paper. It is extremely motivating. And again, this is how I built majority of my wealth within the first company I worked for, literally made hundreds of thousands of calls personally. The amount of people that I spoke to, I obviously spoke differently to a 20-year-old young couple looking to buy or sell a house than I would a 90-year-old senior, but you could place me on any phone call and I could figure my way out, right? And when you take those skills and applied it to my own business, my entire life changed, right? The typical journey of a salesman is, yes, you make mistakes. You learn these skills within your 9 to 5. You make good money doing so. You build connections, but then you take that exact same skill and you go and start your own thing where now instead of earning 5 to 10% commissions on a sale, you are getting 100% of them because it is your own thing. You own the company, right? Obviously, that comes with way more risk, way more expenses and insurance and whatever, right? The point is it is possible, and that is what the very near future video will be talking about, is once you are past the beginner stage and feel comfortable going out on your own, I am going to show you again step by step how I build a 30K a month business from scratch if I had to again. So I hope this helps some of you. I'll link some resources down below. I really like Alex Hero's style of selling. I really like Cole Gordon's style of selling. Those are my top 2. I would say both are on YouTube, have a ton of free resources. My question to you is, why do you want to learn sales? Or actually, more importantly, what skill are you already good at? Or what skill do you want to learn going into 2026? And maybe I'll shoot back some comments on how I make money from that going into the future. So as always, if you've made it this far, I want to see you win. If you have any questions, leave them below and we roll from there. Thank you and peace.